get this straight. These banks are not selling to you because they love you, but because they need you. That is the first thing. Now, what do I mean by this? CBN just told them that you have to recapitalize in 24 months or you face a particular consequence. And how does this work? If you want to play internationally, you must have 500 billion naira minimum capital base. If you want to play nationally, you must have 200 billion naira capital base. And if you want to play regionally, you must have 50 billion naira capital base. Otherwise, something might happen. What might happen? If you want to have an idea, let's cast our minds back to 2006 in the era of Charles Soludo, the then CBN governor, when he came out and he said they should capitalize to have just 25 billion naira only. About 89 banks in the country collapsed to become 25 banks or thereabout. That is what happens if you are not able to meet up with the minimum capital base as stipulated by the CBN. And so to avoid unnecessary mergers, acquisition, and what have you, the banks are out there trying to raise capital and meet with the demands of the CBN. But where would the banks get the money from? Even the almighty GT code that we all know has a capital base of about 170 billion naira. To reach the 500 billion naira, because they want to play internationally and do some other things with it, they need at least 370 billion naira. And that is why they are turning out 9 billion shares to sell to the public and to some institutions. Now you understand when I say that they are selling not because they love you, but because they need you. That is just the truth about that. If you have watched so far, please help my channel to grow. Subscribe, share, and like the video, and drop your comments in the section below. So the banks are turning to you because they need you, like I said, and all of a sudden, everywhere you turn to, you get targeted by ads trying to, target your hard-earned income, making you feel very important, asking you to come and buy into the shares of the bank so that you can have some kind of co-ownership of the bank, which sounds very interesting because I fell for that particular bait, or I took the bait in 2006 together with my friends. We bought into the dream of owning part of the shares of banks and some other companies like that just because Soludo said they should recapitalize. But we did something very wrong, which I don't want to do wrong. We bought without understanding the fundamentals. Let me just admit, we bought dumb. We were dumb. That's why I said that only the dumb buy shares without understanding the fundamentals. And now, what is the essence of this particular video? It is not to say you should not buy shares. Oh, some people have actually become very rich because they bought right. They understood the fundamentals and they bought right. But I am saying, let's reduce the margin of error. As a matter of fact, let us reduce the dumbness. Don't buy like a dumb person. And that is why I am doing this video. I am just sharing what I know about this. So let's have that disclaimer before you start saying, oh, who are you to advise us to buy or not to buy? I am sharing what I know and what I have experienced in the past so that we can reduce, the margin of error. There are 3 things banks will never tell you about shares. Number 1 is that shares don't always appreciate. Oh, I understand. The promise they sell to you that if you buy our shares today at a particular amount of naira, maybe in the next 5 years, 10 years or thereabout, it will appreciate. It doesn't work that way always. Sometimes it does, but there is no certainty that your shares will appreciate over time. Banks have gone bust. What are the Oceanic banks of yesterday? Apart from the bank PHB ads that we all remember, one day when cash shall run on water. Where is the bank today? All right, all of them went down. Okay, when we least expected. So the fact that a company, a bank or whatever is asking you to come and buy today because of the promise that at some point in the future their shares will appreciate is not a guarantee. It's still a probability. Okay, it's a game of chance. You must understand that, but they will not tell you this in their adverts. No bank will tell you that their shares may never appreciate. As a matter of fact, it may depreciate, and any bank can go bust at any point in time. Number 2, dividends are not guaranteed. Part of why we buy shares is that we have the assurance, or we hope that at certain points in time, dividends will be paid. I must confess, the banking sector is doing well in this regard. People who have bought into their shares are saying, okay, they are collecting dividends as and when due, especially GTCO, for instance. Okay, people have told me that they have never missed, paying the dividend, but then it's not guaranteed. Sometimes there could be things that happen. A lot of things happen behind the curtains that might make a particular company unable to pay dividends as and when due. Not necessarily because they are dubious, but maybe the fundamentals are just not cooperating. You only pay dividend when there are profits. Nobody pays dividend when there are losses, and companies incur losses, even banks. So understand that dividends are not guaranteed. So if you are trying to buy because you are expecting that you will always have your dividend, trust me, you may be disappointed. Just know that. That's number 2. Number 3, share ownership does not guarantee control. Even though many of us bought into the idea that we would have some kind of co-ownership of the bank, no, we were wrong. They still do what they want to do. You don't have a say in their operations. As a matter of fact, they use your money the way they decide, and you are just a bystander. You're just an onlooker looking at what your money is used for. So buying shares does not guarantee ownership of the bank. It's only in theory. In practice, you are not really a co-owner of that particular bank, or let me say, you don't have control over how they do their things, and you have no say, except maybe you are like a majority shareholder. At that point, you can say, yes, you have the measure of control over their operations. So those are 3 things banks will never tell you about their shares. But if you still insist and you want to buy, there are things you must underline. There are checklists that you must follow before you drop your money to buy any amount of share, whether it is 1 unit or 1 million units. And I will tell you one after the other now in the video. Number 1, you must tell yourself whether you are ready to play the game for a long time. If you are thinking you want to buy shares and you want to sell in the next 2 years or 3 years, hoping for a short-term gain, you are wrong. It doesn't happen that way. Buying shares is a patient game. It's not for those who are very impatient. It's not a get-rich-quick kind of scheme that you put your money into now and you get returns out next year. Next year, the shares you're buying today might collapse for one reason or the other. There might be downturn in the economy, there may be global meltdown and what have you. Nobody saw COVID happen, and when COVID happened, shares went down globally. And so, if you are in it for a short term, you are wrong. So you must ask yourself, number 1, am I in it for a long term? If your answer is yes, by all means, go ahead. Number 2 things you must ensure: how literate are you financially? Do you have a measure of understanding about how shares work and how risks are managed? Because let's not forget that buying shares is some kind of risk, and there's something called risk management. You must have a basic education about financial literacy, and this is very important. So before you go out and buy, you do yourself some favor by actually studying some little things about financial literacy, and you have videos online about this. I mean, videos about how to understand how shares work, how to manage risks, and so on and so forth. So you must be a bit educated about this before you pull out your money to buy these shares. Number 3, study the bank's fundamentals. Don't just pull out your money and buy because it is this bank or whatever. No, don't fall for the ads. Ads are meant to give you sensations, to push you to the point of buying, okay? So you are meant to, don't be emotional about money here. It's your money. If you lose it, you lose it. So understand it. Study the fundamentals of the bank. And what do I mean? Study their financial health, the revenue growth, their debt level, and their management team, which is very important. Who are the people managing your fund? Who are the custodians of your fund? Because let me tell you, the fish was from the head. Okay, so if you have the wrong set of leadership or management managing your funds in any bank or whatever, your money is bound to go down the drain. So you must understand these things about the company before you buy into the shares. And number 4, industry trend and outlook. The banking sector. What is the current state of the banking sector? What is the future prospect of the banking sector? And are there any future disruptions? Okay, these are things you must understudy before you buy their shares. Don't just fall for the bait. Don't take the bait just like that. Understand all of these things. And number 5, which is the last one for today, get advice from a qualified financial advisor. Okay, don't just buy without asking someone who truly knows. This is not a replacement for solid financial advice. I am just sharing with you what I know and what I think you should find out. There are so many things I've said here that you need to find out that I cannot provide answers to in this video. Maybe in some other videos I will try to answer some, but your best bet is to find someone who is qualified, who is trained as a financial advisor to tell you what bank shares to buy and what not to buy, right? Don't fall into the trap of buying what you will end up regretting. Don't forget that it's your hard-earned income and it is yours and yours alone to determine that you don't lose it anyhow to just anybody. And that's the show today. Thank you very much. Please help us grow this channel by subscribing, hit the like button, and share this to other people who are trying to buy. I am not saying don't buy shares from banks. Please, many will still come after GTCO, okay? But ensure that you understand all I have said here before you buy, and you all will be happy. My name is Ayo Jimmy. I'll see you some other time.